What is something someone said to you that crushed your confidence in NSFW? I broke my nose 3 times before I was 2 years old. This has resulted in a somewhat odd voice. I'm very conscious of how nasal it is. And also a destroyed sense of smell. A female coworker told me once that I always smell like fesses. Bam. Self-conscious about that. Since I heard it, I already showered every day. Apply deodorant religiously. Wore clean clothes constantly. No sniff tests for me. etc. She just told me that my efforts had all been in vain. I do not even know what else I can do. I cannot smell. I live with the specter of being a social pariah looming over me and being literally physically incapable of telling that it is there. Editor man. How come this one had to be popular? Anyway, some common addresses that need to be made. First. No. She did not say fesses. She said a word that started with an S. I have a weird mental block and I cannot bring myself to swear. She also said this to intentionally be damaging. I do not remember the context, but I remember exactly how she said the line, and it was very angrily. Also, to people telling me to get revenge. She hasn't worked there for a long time. This happened years ago, probably 4 or 5. I have not been told that since, and I'm not too worried about it, because I trust people to tell me if I smell awful. Does not mean I'm not paranoid, though. And if I sweat even a little bit I kind of freak out internally. The second I get a gross reaction from someone I step up my hygiene regime. My sense of smell is not 100 gone. It is just pretty awful. The 2 scents I do not seem to have a diminished ability to detect are fesses and vomit, which I find especially abhorrent. Imagine if those smells were 5x more powerful than every other smell you've ever known. Yep. I do not think it is my breath, because no one has ever commented about my breath ever. If that was the case I'd been harassed mercilessly about it during middle school. Do not you think? Also I have a decent not great oral hygiene regime. So I think that is cool. I can do the lick back of hand and smell breath trick, and if it is bad I can smell it, but if it is not awful I cannot smell anything. So, yep. By bad I mean this is about when I would brush my teeth. And lastly, how I broke my nose 3 times. Got out of a high chair, jumped down, face hit a regular chair on the way down, jumped downstairs, cry of I'm Superman, was heard before ominous thumps followed by deep crying. Lastly, I closed my eyes to run through a sprinkler, then I kept running until I hit a picnic table. I was a very accident prone kid. My mother was actually confronted by a doctor for being abusive because I had so many injuries and the like. Last I heard I had 137 stitches in my head alone growing up. No, not all at once. I slipped and cut my head open on the corner of a table right after the doctor asked that, and his response was something along the lines of never mind. This is a tough one. You really need to start asking people, and ask in a way where they do not need to feel like they need to lie to you to make you feel better. Start asking friends and family, hey, I have been told I have a strange odor on me. I do not have a sense of smell, so I did like to know if that is true. I would not be offended if it is true. I just need to know so I can find out what is wrong. Yeah. I would find someone you trust that can help you do a smell test periodically. Someone with a good sense of smell. I would be a bad candidate and who wants to help. It is possible that person was just being mean and you worrying over nothing. It is sad that they said that so tactlessly. This method needs some proactive. A dude said that to me within earshot walking by me in high school. I had really bad acne at the time, so that shit cut deep. A few years back I got on a dating site. Around that same time my hairline was starting to recede a little bit, and I was very sensitive about it. I saw this one girl's profile, liked it and decided to write her a message asking if she wanted to go on a date and have a couple of drinks. Her response consisted of only one question. One for every hair on your head. My confidence was absolutely crushed for a long time after that. I started balding at about 17. At 19 I started just shaving the whole thing and have not really looked back. If thin hair bothers you, get rid of it. Granted, some girls do not like the shaved look, but who really gives a shit? Lots of girls like it, and some even come to prefer it. Anytime a girl tells me I should grow my hair back, I 1 explain that I cannot and I like this look anyway, and 2 hope she lines drop the subject. If she insists on being a bitch about a situation I just explained I'm making the best of and cannot really change if I wanted to, then she is not worth my time. Food for thought from a fellow follically challenged man. The other day I stopped to get a drink at a gas station. A group of kids were out front. Had to have been age range 17, 20. One kid in a wife beater started walking toward me. What s up fat ass? Yo. Fat ass. Why do not you lose some weight? You should let me be yo trainer. Alright fat ass. Have a fat day. Unprovoked. Just random and hurtful. I'm almost 30. I had something similar the other day. Had some little redhead kid probably 14 years old sitting in his dad's truck blasting rap yell hey 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 at me. So I just promptly replied duck you ginger. To which he sat in shock. Was it the right thing to do? Absolutely not. But though I lowered myself to his level it felt good. I'm a stay-at-home dad. Yesterday I was explaining to my 4-year-old daughter what skills are and how her mom has skills teacher, her grandpa mechanic and so on. She asked me if I had any skills. I told her that I take care of all my girls, including her mom, and the whole house. She just laughs at me and says daddy that's not skills. You too ugly to have been raped direct family member. Never been the same since. Story time Samantha's link. My mother once told me I was 5 minutes away from being an abortion and she wished she'd followed through. That was almost 20 years ago and it still messes with my confidence. Defecate on her coffee table, look her in the eyes, and say abort that. Do not ask why. Just do it. Edit the plus side there is, that she wished she had followed through, and you just did. I was showing my mother my newly purchased condo, and she decided that I needed new pillows. Hey, free stuff. They had 2 pillowcases in each bag, and a 2-for-1 deal on pillows. My mother goes, I will just get one. It's not like you are going to have anyone over. She was dead serious. From my father. Just talking over breakfast one morning. He says it's a good thing you are single. That way you would not ever be tied down with a family and can just move around wherever the work takes you. That was a double hurt. After an argument in the court, my father yelled across the office that I was supposed to be an abortion. He filed because he wanted to stop paying support in order to develop a relationship with me. He has always been a deadbeat dad anyway, but it still didn't feel the best. My mom once told me she wanted to abort me and that she went into a deep depression when she decided not to. She told me this because she thought it was funny. I remember a guy saying that when he was 10, he learned Smoke on the Water on guitar, but not just the root notes of the opening riff, the full thing, chords and all. He got to school and he was waiting outside for it to open, telling his friends excitedly, and some bitchy ass mum overheard and said big deal. My 6-year-old can do that. I have always been nerdy in school, even as a young child. In the 6th grade, I was going through a lot and had some traumatic experiences occur. I became depressed and not as interested in school. However, I tried my best. One day, my teacher was comparing the intellectuals of the class and was naming all of the students who she predicts will get into good colleges. She did not name me. This girl who prior to this action, I disliked and thought of her as jerk, raised her hand and said, "What about him never giving guy up? She is one of the smartest kids in the whole school." My teacher looked at me and said she lines get into college, but not a good one. It seriously made me want to give up. I lost a lot of my motivation. TL Doctor, my 6th grade teacher told me I will never get into a good college. One day, my teacher was comparing the intellectuals of the class and was naming all of the students who she predicts will get into good colleges. Your teacher is ducking horrible and probably ruined an entire class's self-esteem forever. I'm leaving your mom. You can lose my number. Dad. Edit. Guys. Wow. Thanks for all the kind words on here, and for the unkind words regarding my father's sperm donor. It has been 13 years since I have talked to heard from him. He left when I was 17ish. And I'm fine with that. I do not even think I hate him anymore, which is healthy. My mom now has a boyfriend who is great to her and also to my wife and I. After all the mental abuse, the months at a time of not speaking to us when we weren't allowed to speak either, the passive aggressive behaviors, our physical altercations, his abuse of his power as a cop, it wasn't fun. But it was the best thing for him to leave. It is not easy coming to terms with the fact that one of your parents, so half of your parents, basically hates you. And then when you realize, hey, I'm 50 that guy, it really boils your noodle. Hell, it has been this long, and I still have recurring nightmares when I get stressed that I'm 15 again and living under his roof. Regardless, thank you all. This was very validating, and I appreciate it. To those of you living similar stories, my heart goes out to you. And to mom, who will never read this. Thank you for loving me twice as hard. We have a bond that would not have been possible if not for the situation we both survived. Dat FDFY. This is ducking corny, but I was walking past a store with some shit on sale for Father's Day, and there was a mug that said, "Any man can be a father, but it takes a real man to be a dad." Hit me right in the feels, and I got a little misty right there next to the orange Julius.